So the other day I was watching this series by Annie Austin called Skybox Appreciation. And in this series, he takes a look at many classic games like Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, and just takes the time to slow down and appreciate the beautiful backdrops that accompany many of the iconic levels. Now, what exactly is a skybox? Well, a skybox is basically a texture that is wrapped around a cube, or more modernly a sphere, and that is blown up and surrounding the entire level and creates the illusion of this atmosphere or sky. This is a technique that is very commonly used among pretty much every game developer. Skyboxes are such a wonderful tool to immerse the player because they create this vast sense of depth and this whole world that's around you. But they actually are just pictures, or layers of pictures. And seeing those classic retro skyboxes reminded me of some absolutely beautiful ones from none other than Super Mario Galaxy. So let's go ahead and jump right in with the Comet Observatory, the home world of Super Mario Galaxy. And this sky, I mean, this is just a beautiful sky. I think we also see this one on the title screen. So many of these skies just encapsulate the feeling of space. These vast open spaces with clouds and stars. It's just so pretty to look at. And one of my favorite things always about Mario Galaxy was seeing the planets in the distance that you couldn't get to yet, but that you would be able to in the future, which I think, there's not very many good examples of that here at the Comet Observatory, but I'll show you coming up on some of the future levels. But yeah, this one, what's really interesting about this sky is this right here, these stars. I really just love the detail in the sky. The moving clouds, that's one thing that's neat too. Some skyboxes are pretty static, others have layers of things, like clouds will be on a separate layer and they'll move, and you also have this kind of lens glare effect with the sun that's really pretty. I don't even know, is that the sun? I mean, it's just this sort of glimmering light on the horizon. It's just such a pretty sky. The color scheme, this really encapsulates Super Mario Galaxy really well. And here we are at our next stop, which is the Hive Galaxy, which uses a different sky. This one is bright and cloudy and nice sunny day, although actually I don't think there is a sun in sight on this galaxy other than just this large concentration of light up here. But often, this isn't really part of the skybox, but often you have these black holes everywhere that you've got to look out for, and they really add something to the atmosphere. And I like the interesting transition of the nice, cloudy, sunny looking day with the space aesthetic below. It's really, again, just a really neat combination that really works for this game. Now, when we go over to a level like Beach Bowl Galaxy, you might think, oh, well, that is just going to use the same skybox as Hive Galaxy, but actually, no, it doesn't. It uses a different cloud pattern, as you can see. It's a bit darker in the sky, which I think actually works well with the very bright blue water to just kind of separate the sky more. And we don't have that sort of outer space effect at the bottom. We have the clouds just kind of bunching up. I kind of just assumed it was the same sky as Hive, but no, they made a completely different one. And I love that attention to detail. And now we arrive to what I think is perhaps my favorite skybox in this game. It was one that I always loved ever since I was a kid. It's the Ghostly Galaxy sky. So you've got these ghostly sort of clouds that are just coming out from this really eerie abyss just out of nowhere, and they're moving along and warping around in this sort of sphere, and they all just accumulate over in this bright blue swirl. Everything's just so swirly, it looks like a painting. It's such a cool effect, and I think there's just multiple layers of things going on. I have no idea how it works. I've looked at the individual textures for it before. The fun fact actually about that, I think that this texture is very similar to one that was used in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Yeah, it's just a really cool effect. and really pretty to look at. I mean, when you're just standing out on a little planet somewhere, like going over to where you have the race, and you just look out there and you see this beautiful horizon. It's so cool. And it looks like there is the sun right there. Ghostly Galaxy is a great example of what I was talking about earlier, was the planets that you can see from afar that you might not have access to yet, that kind of gets you curious about how the game's going to continue. Like, what is that way over there? I have no idea. And later you find out, oh, it's its own level. And oh wait, I forgot about this. This is perfect. The Skybox actually changes during this portion of the level. So this is during the Matter Splatter Mansion mission, and the sky turns into this really cool green looking backdrop. So yeah, I didn't really pay attention to that before, but Ghostly Galaxy actually has a dynamic sky, which is really intriguing to see. Deep Dark Galaxy, which this is very interesting actually. This is the same Comet Observatory sky, but we have this sort of sunsetty cloud effect up here that really changes the feel and the environment. And you only see it when you're above ground, but as soon as you dive into the water, you have that blue tint, and you don't really ever see the sky again. And here we have another favorite of mine, which is Melty Molten Galaxy, which is really quite an intimidating sky, where we have just the black void of space with these huge plains of lava above and below us, which is just really fiery, and it reminds me a bit of Lethal Lava Land from Super Mario 64. It makes the world feel so much bigger than it actually is. You just have this endless sea of lava, and I feel like we zoom through these levels sometimes and we subconsciously pick these things up, but when you stop and look at it, it's really, really beautiful art. Now, Toy Time Galaxy actually takes Skybox quite literally and puts us inside a giant box, and I love the child's room aesthetic, but when you look at it, it's actually a very weird room, because there's windows into space, and there's no doors, and there's puzzle tiles on the floor and puzzle tiles on the ceiling. It's just a really odd looking room, but you notice that it's kind of darker than everything else in the foreground, I think, to let the levels speak a bit louder and stand out more than the backdrop. At Dusty Dune Galaxy, we have probably the least interesting skybox. It's just a blue sky with what looks like just kind of dust moving around, and we do have the sun up there, but it makes sense for the desert level to not have, you know, this big cloudy sky, but it's a very basic, almost gradient looking skybox. I mean, actually going away from the level, it's literally just a gradient with some dust moving around. It's not very elaborate, but it does work against the yellow sand. Here at Freeze Flame Galaxy, we have what looks like sort of this Aurora Borealis effect going around, which is really pretty. And we have some clouds down here and a darker night sky, and it really does fit the snowy aesthetic of the ice parts of the level really well. Going for that Northern Lights look really fits the theme of the level. As a callback to Super Mario 64, we have Bowser's Dark Matter planet here, which has this really warped sort of reddish purple sky, which reminds me of the sorts of things you saw in Mario 64, where we had like the green cavern. I believe it's in Bowser in the Sky. And look at those particle effects around the star. I never really noticed that before. They're just floating around and really drawing your interest into the grand star here. Bowser's Star Reactor is similar, but actually utilizes that outer space feel. And gee, that's kind of intimidating, seeing the red, cloudy, cosmic sky, and then just this endless sea of, it almost looks like this poison water below us. It's and look at that orange line at the horizon. Interesting dark aesthetics for the Bowser levels. There's one very odd skybox in Mario Galaxy, and that's for Flip Switch Galaxy, which is just a screenshot from Super Mario Brothers. Just kind of curved around the whole world. I think this is the only level that uses the sky, and you can even see there's just some bricks kind of scattered off in the distance. I like that it's different than every other level. It's just kind of a different look. So those are many of the skyboxes from Super Mario Galaxy. Even in just taking the time to look at them, I'm surprised at actually how different many of them are from each other. And just the amount of attention to detail that was put into this game. And even when you could just duplicate the same sky, they change it, even if just subtly, to make it something different than what you've seen before. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you're really interested in checking out other video game skyboxes, Any Austin has a great series of videos on it that just dive into some really classic games. There is so much to be said about Super Mario Galaxy. This is just one of the many reasons why I absolutely adore this game, and personally it's my favorite game of all time. I could make so many other videos about. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.